WNBA #1 overall pick, Chiney Ogwumike, and NBA champion Matt Barnes. Matt actually won the title in 2017 with the Warriors and with Kevin Durant, who has since gone to the Brooklyn Nets. Katie was on a radio station in New York, Hot 97, talking about why the Knicks are no longer cool. Take a listen.
I think a lot of fans look at the Knicks as a brand and expect these younger players who, in their lifetime, don't remember the Knicks being good.
Right.
So, like, I didn't grow up with the Knicks. Well, I seen the Knicks in the finals, but kids coming up after me didn't see that. So that whole brand of the Knicks to them is not as cool as, let's say, the Golden State Warriors or even the Lakers or the Nets now. You know what I'm saying? It's like the cool thing right now is not the Knicks.
So, Matt, does your former teammate have a point?
Absolutely. It's been that way for a while. I think they're, they want to buy into the, the letters across their chest, and this younger generation doesn't really have a knowledge of history, or it's sometimes, and I'm not saying everyone, really just a respect for the history of the game. Now it's what have you done for me lately?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it hasn't been the Knicks in a long time, and it won't be the Knicks for the long time. Like I've continued to say, it starts at the top, and until they get a new owner, they're gonna stay in the toilet.
Janae, to Matt's point, it's been a long time since Pat Riley and Jeff Van Gundy and Patrick Ewing and John Starks.
Oh man, you're right. I feel bad. I really feel bad because I'm not that much younger than Katie, but I get what Katie is talking about, and unfortunately, you're right, Matt, because. Respect and all that stuff. I feel you. Knowledge. We got to do better with knowledge. Right. But I grew up with the mellow Knicks.
Right.
That's when I was watching basketball, and the furthest they got was the second round
against Indiana. Yeah.
And then I also grew up though with the New Jersey Nets.
Right.
And that was iconic just because of Jason Kidd. There was energy, buzz, and excitement. So for Brooklyn now, it's sort of like you had a departure from that culture for a little while, but now you've got this new arena. You've got this nice new practice facility. You have a great culture you're building. You have Coach Kenny. I went and saw the practice. I was blown away. The culture is there in Brooklyn, even so much so that when I go to New York City, I don't even really like staying in New York City. I actually choose to stay in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's just a different vibe, and I think this is what Katie is speaking to.
Well, but I think it's
too. The Tsai family.
Sure.
They're really outside the box. I got a chance to meet them, and they're really trying to do everything to really get this new group and new message out there, and I think they're doing a great job.
And I think though that stuff takes generations, though, as you pointed out. You've got fans who have been Knicks fans for long time, right? You got a lot of old people there who have been there with the Knicks.
For how much longer?
You know what I'm saying? They're living and dying with the Knicks. Well, it depends on what you say about the owner, right? I guess that's a point that you have to deal with. But but that's what it is. And then usually in most cases, I don't think that is the case anymore. But our generation, for the most part, if your dad or your uncle, or your grandpa, or whatever, liked the team, you probably like that team. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, to your point, Matt, kids are like, nah, man, I want to know what's the team that's winning. Right. It's funny. I have a 5-year-old daughter. We'll be watching a football game or a basketball game, and I'll be like, oh, look, honey, look, this is daddy's team, and, this is mommy's team. And she'll be like, but which is the winning team? Right. Yeah. That's the team I want.
My twins have a new favorite team and player every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just kind of just what it is. It's what have you done for me lately? And it's unfortunate, and I kind of compare the Knicks and Lakers, but this will always be a Laker town.
Yes.
Not saying that, the Clippers can't start something special and, possibly hang a few banners. It'll always be a Laker town.
Right.
I feel like New York is kind of always going to be known as a Knicks town, but like I said, the Nets have a perfect opportunity to build something new and kind of get this new generation and possibly turn the tide in a handful of years.
Or at least create a real rivalry, right? Amongst the fans in town. Former #1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, scored 8 points off the bench for the Magic in his preseason action last night. So, Chiney, how has Fultz looked so far to you?
I'm really happy because, I'm not even watching necessarily the jumper so much. I know we all have eyes for the jumper, but I'm just looking at how he moves. What is his confidence level?
Right.
And if you see his confidence there, he's making some nice moves. He had a nice little double clutch reverse layup. That's what I want to see from Markelle Fultz. Now, I know it'll probably be a whole new experience because he has not attempted, to my knowledge, a free throw yet. So that's where I think all the eyes will really be. But look at that. The jumper is smooth. He's taking it with confidence. He's in his bag. This is the reverse layup. He's looking like the athletic guard we saw and came to love at Washington.
I think you hit it on the head. Confidence, as a player, is everything. Confidence is everything, and it comes and goes when you're a young player very quickly. And I think all the noise around him has probably contributed to his kind of a mental block, similar with Ben Simmons. I mean, the most important thing is, like she said earlier, is to get out there and shoot it. You have to get out there and do it. And this kid is very talented. Obviously, there's a reason why he was picked number 1. And I'm happy just to see him out there smiling and playing, because if he didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck up to this point in his career. So I'm hoping that this fresh start in Orlando, gives him a new, shine of light, and he just goes out there and plays.
Well, and he looks like he's making these moves out there on the floor. They're deliberate, right? There's a process and an intention as to what it is that he's going to do. And because he's so deliberate with his actions, I think that exudes the confidence that you guys are talking about. And look, here's the other thing. Orlando needs him too.
They do.
They could use a star in that town, and he's got star potential, as you pointed out. That's the reason he went number 1.
Like I said, I just want to see him continue to stay injury-free and just see what happens. He really hasn't had a chance to really do too much of anything in this league, so I'm excited he got a fresh start.
And if you're a basketball fan, you're rooting for him.
Of course.
Sort of like you're rooting for the Knicks to get some success. It's like one of those things deep down.
Well, I don't know about that.
You want them to be
Not everybody's rooting for the Knicks.
Because at some point, it's so hard.
Producer Steve is.
He is. Shout out to Steve. But I think we're all rooting for Markelle Fultz for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can all agree on that for sure.
Do
All
your
right,
thing.
here's where the jump. And now it's crunch time on the jump. The Warriors have signed big man Kavion Pippen. You may know his uncle, Scotty. Kavion was undrafted out of Southern Illinois. He's 6'10" and was first-team all-defense in the Missouri Valley Conference. Matt, think there's a little extra pressure when your last name is Pippen?
I think so, but I love the fact that, these second generation, third generation, kids are starting to pop up and be talented, and I love it. I played with William Pippen, who I think is a nephew of his coming into the NBA. Fortunately, he didn't make it, but, Pippen's a big last name to live up to, but good luck to this kid.
But it's good, though, because if you're thinking about an area of need for the Warriors, it's rim protection. And your last name will get you pretty far, you know, especially if you're a center.
Yeah, they definitely need some guys because they're not healthy there right now for sure. All right, over 100 NBA scouts came to see R.J. Hampton's practice on Monday. His team, the New Zealand Breakers, is in the U.S. to play the Grizzlies tonight. Janae, based on this turnout, does it look like R.J.'s decision to skip college is working?
It's definitely working. It's big working. I mean, 100 people to watch you work out, that's extremely impressive. And I think it just shows how the NBA is being flexible and figuring out how to manage these situations in the future.
I love the situation, especially with the NCAA's hard-headedness, so to speak.
Yeah.
The kids like him and LaMelo are giving kids other options to do other things. And although I wanted to see both of them in college, must-see college basketball so we can see all their games, this is definitely another avenue now, and these kids are continuing to create new avenues to get into the league, and I think it's great for basketball.
And Australia is a great place because there's no language barrier.
Very true.
They speak English, so that helps for young kids as well. Pat Riley spoke on Monday about James Johnson's failed conditioning test. Riley said, quote, "It had to be done. Johnson has been away from the team since camp began, but they expect him to be back soon." Matt, do you like Riley holding his vets to this standard still?
I think it's been long known that Riley is this way. You listen to Magic and those guys talk, training camp was hell for those guys, and he made sure they were in condition and ready to play. So if you know that your president and owner, I'm not sure what his title is.
He is part owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is like that, you got to be ready when you come to camp, especially when they gave you money a couple years ago.
I agree, but I sort of disagree, though, because, I feel like after so many years, you're a vet, just let them come to training camp and put in their work. Now, it's interesting to me because when I'm in practice, I remember my rookie year. Katie Douglas, we had to do a one down and back, and she's like, that's not going to happen for me. I'm going to conserve all my veteran energy. So I get the culture, but sometimes I feel like there should be
and I agree with that, but how many years is he really like an older vet like that? I think he's 7 or 8 years.
Right.
How many years in the league?
Well, James Johnson's been in the league 8 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guy, too. But you got to know, someone with Pat Riley, if he's not going to give Magic Johnson a pass, there's probably a chance that you're probably not going to get
Well, and I think there's something to what you said, right? They rewarded him with the big contract because they do like him.
They love his
They
game.
love him. They love his game. They love his intensity. He kind of embodies what they've always been. So I think he's almost disappointed that he didn't come in shape. Yeah. All right, next, Dave McMenamin has a new story on ESPN.com. It details how Anthony Davis ended up with the Lakers. Dave spoke to 80s agent Rich Paul, who had some interesting comments comparing his client to last season's MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you put Anthony Davis on that Bucks team last year, they'd be playing in the finals. He knows how to make guys better. That's not a knock to Giannis, but that's just what I think. Janae, do you agree with Rich Paul that Anthony Davis is a better player than Giannis?
Not to make an entire country mad. But yes, I do agree, largely because Anthony Davis, from a skill perspective, is better than Giannis. Now, this is what hurts Anthony Davis, being a post. Giannis, I mean, it's a guard's world now. And Giannis being the primary ball handler, initiating offense, going coast to coast. Yes, he has improvement to make in the skills department, and he's dominant. He's an MVP. But Anthony Davis, even from the preseason, we're all like, this guy is a future MVP. But he's got all, like, what is he missing, Matt?
Yeah.
What is he missing?
I have no problem with Rich Paul saying this, and I agree with him. And like I said, that's not a knock on Giannis. Giannis is continuing to grow, and I think what captivates people is Giannis' ability to go coast to coast and Euro step from half court and dunk on people in front of his teammates. But as far as the skill, AD doesn't have a hole in his game, and even though, like you said, it's not a big player's game anymore, he's starting to adapt and starting to get more consistent, obviously, with the mid-range, but consistently knocking down the three-point too. AD's a problem, and I have no problem with what Rich said, and I agree with him.
Yeah, I think we've discussed this before, right? Like, Giannis, and he would say this too, that he has things he wants to work on, the outside shot, the in-between game, and Anthony Davis doesn't have any flaws. That's absolutely the truth. So, all right, thanks for hanging out with us here on The Jump. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on ESPN. We'll see you then. Have a good day.